Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're shifting focus a bit. We're not really talking music charts, but more the business brain behind Madonna Louise Ciccone.
Exactly. It's this incredible story of someone who didn't just make hits. She, engineered her own financial world.
An $850 million personal empire. And you look at where she started, Bay City, Michigan. Not exactly a global finance hub.
No, definitely not. A pretty modest industrial town background. It makes that $850 million figure even more, astounding. A real rise from basically nothing.
Yeah, everyone knows that story, right? Arriving in New York, 1978, with just $35. And for anyone listening who's interested in, wealth strategy or control, that's not just a cute anecdote.
No, not at all. That's like chapter 1 of a master plan.
So we're doing celebrity deep dive in the usual sense. We're digging into what our sources are calling the master game.
Right. It's all about ownership, strategic reinvention, and really building lasting wealth. It's less about fame, more about conquest, a blueprint.
So the big question is how? How did she manage to stay relevant, keep going viral, stay profitable for 4 decades now?
Yeah.
What's the mechanism behind that $850 million empire?
It really boils down to a fundamental shift. She was, the biggest performer on the planet for a while, but the lasting power, the wealth, that came from becoming a shareholder, a major owner.
Moving from performer to shareholder.
Okay. That pivot, that's really what we want to unpack today.
Okay, let's start right there. The first step wasn't even financial, was it? It was more psychological. Using identity as leverage.
Exactly. The sources really highlight this. She grasped early on that attention, not necessarily being liked or accepted, was the real currency to start with.
And she got that leverage fast. 1978, she arrives.
And by 1984, just 6 years on, like a virgin drops, sells over 21 million copies worldwide. That's meteoric.
And she wasn't trying to fit in, was she? She was deliberately being different, commanding attention.
Totally. She didn't rise by playing the game everyone else was playing. She made them play her game.
Which brings us to this idea of calculated reinvention. She goes through these really distinct phases, the Catholic schoolgirl look, the sort of Marilyn vibe, the spiritual thing. Was that just artistic growth, or was it more planned?
Oh, the analysis points to it being very strategic, not random at all. Each shift was like hitting a reset button, regaining control of the narrative.
The reset of control, I like that.
Yeah. Anytime the culture kind of caught up or tried to box her in, she'd just blow up the box. By the early 90s, she'd absolutely mastered provocation as branding. People talked about her constantly, whether they liked her latest song or not.
That's such a key insight. Don't smooth the edges, sharpen them. So for you listening, the takeaway here is maybe you don't need a perfect start, but you need a bold identity.
And crucially, one you're willing to evolve publicly, fearlessly, keep people guessing, keep them interested.
And that strong brand, that attention, that's what let her make the next big leap, right? The shift from star to shareholder, building actual asset.
Exactly. Pillar number 2, moving beyond just royalties.
This is where it gets really interesting from a business perspective. Most artists, they chase the charts, the next hit. She seemed focused on building infrastructure.
That's a great way to put it. Building durable infrastructure. And the first massive piece of that was Maverick Records in 1992.
Okay, Maverick. Co-founded with Time Warner. A $60 million deal, the sources say. That sounds huge for back then.
It was enormous. And you have to remember the context, like you said. For any artist, let alone a woman in pop music, to get that kind of joint venture deal, it was basically unheard of.
So what did that JV structure give her that, say, a standard record deal wouldn't? What was the magic ingredient?
Equity. Simple as that. A normal deal, you get royalties, right? Maybe 15%, 20% if you're lucky, of certain revenues.
Right. Pennies on the dollar, essentially.
Pretty much. But a joint venture like Maverick, structured the way it was, that meant she had full creative and financial control. She wasn't just getting royalties. She was earning equity. She became a partner in the system, not just working for it. Okay. So when her own projects under Maverick took off like Ray of Light in 98.
Which was massive. Sold 16 million copies, won 4 Grammys.
The success didn't just benefit the big parent company. It flowed directly back into her company, Maverick.
Exactly. It fuels the next thing. It becomes a self-sustaining engine for growth.
Yeah.
And she didn't stop there.
No.
Fast forward about a decade, 2007, she takes that same ownership thinking and applies it to her entire career with that massive Live Nation deal.
The $120 million Live Nation 360 deal.
Right.
And 360 means everything, doesn't it?
Everything. Albums, touring, merch, brand deals, you name it, all bundled into one giant agreement.
That was really ahead of its time. We see deals like that now with, Jay-Z or Beyonce, but back then.
Super bold. She was one of the absolute pioneers of structuring deals that way, especially on that scale, and it paid off immediately.
How so?
The first big tour under that deal, the Sticky and Sweet Tour in 2008-2009, it grossed $408 million.
Wow. $408 million. At the time, a record for a solo artist. That number right there shows you the power of ownership scaled across everything. The tour, the merch, the brand.
It really drives home that point you made earlier, the difference between getting paid to perform and getting paid because you own the whole platform.
Most stars rent their fame, basically. She decided to buy the stadium.
So for anyone listening with a business mindset, it really forces you to ask, am I building a one-off hit or am I building an actual system? Am I building equity?
That's the core question, yes.
Okay, so she built the system. But systems need upkeep, right? They can get rusty. How did she keep it all relevant? This systematic reinvention idea. How did that actually work over 4 decades?
Well, it seems to be about adapting strategically, not panicking when one phase ends. Most artists peak, then they kind of flounder, right? What's next?
Yeah, the sophomore slump or the difficult third album.
Exactly. But Madonna seems to treat reinvention as just part of the process, from 80s synth pop through the sort of darker 90s electronic stuff into the digital age. She just keeps adapting. She avoids becoming obsolete.
And the timing often seems impeccable, like the sources point out Ray of Light in '98, that electronic spiritual vibe.
Yeah, it was kind of pre-mainstream spirituality, wasn't it? Before everyone was doing yoga and talking mindfulness, she tapped into that early.
Got there first, and then, hung up in 2005, sampling ABA. Disco wasn't exactly cool then.
Not at all. She brought it back, made it cool again, and boom, massive global hit, charted in, 41 countries? She doesn't just follow the trends, sometimes she seems to reset them.
Which brings us pretty much up to date. The Celebration Tour, 2023-2024. That seemed very deliberately tuned into current nostalgia, didn't it?
Absolutely. It grossed, $225 million? And it really leaned into that retro aesthetic, which plays perfectly on platforms like TikTok and Instagram now.
So she's using the past to stay relevant now, driving rediscovery among younger generations.
It's like she understands you need constant adaptation for long-term attention, especially with how media works today. She acts like a feedback loop. Culture shifts, she adapts, maybe pushes it somewhere new, and culture shifts again, partly because of her.
So the lesson isn't just change, it's change strategically. Make sure your next version works for now. It's about choosing longevity over just being the next big thing for 5 minutes.
She definitely chose longevity. Which leads into another, maybe counterintuitive part of her strategy, how she handles crisis.
Yeah, because she's faced a lot of criticism over the years.
Yeah.
Age, outfits, statements.
Constantly. But instead of retreating when things get tough, which is what most people do, right? Minimize the noise.
Yeah, lie low for a bit.
She seems to do the opposite. She maximizes visibility. She turns the potential downfall into fuel.
We saw that really clearly in June 2023, didn't we? That serious bacterial infection rushed the ICU. The Celebration Tour looked like it might be off.
The narrative was definitely, is this it? Has she pushed too hard? Huge doubts were cast.
And yet, 3 months later, she's back on stage, the tour happens, and still grosses that massive $225.4 million.
Despite the delay, despite the health scare, despite the doubters.
And then the absolute masterstroke, perhaps, May 2024, that free concert in Rio, Copacabana Beach.
1.6 million people.
1.6 million, the single largest audience of her entire career. That was just a comeback concert. That was a statement of power, wasn't it?
It's textbook strategic response to crisis. She didn't just recover, she used the global attention around her health scare as a launchpad, a massive relaunch. It basically upgraded the whole narrative around her.
So the insight there is pretty powerful. A crisis doesn't mean you failed. It might just mean you're playing big enough for people to notice.
And the real strategy is in how you orchestrate the return. Make it dramatic. Make it count.
Okay, which brings us to the final piece, maybe the ultimate currency, influence. The stats alone are just mind-boggling.
Best-selling female artist ever, 300 million records. Tours grossing over $1.6 billion cumulatively.
Only Taylor Swift's Eras Tour has grossed more overall, right?
Correct. But those are, in a way, just numbers, historical markers.
So what's the deeper influence?
It's the blueprints she created. She didn't just sell albums. She fundamentally changed what was possible for female artists who came after her.
In what way?
In demanding ownership and taking huge aesthetic risks. Think about Lady Gaga, Beyoncé, Rihanna, even Doja Cat now. Madonna arguably kicked down the doors for them to control their image, their business, their narrative in the way they do. She gave them tactical permission, in a sense.
And that influence isn't just stuck in the past, is it? You said it's almost algorithmic now.
Yeah, it feels like that in 2025. Her old tracks suddenly go viral on TikTok. Gen Z creators are constantly referencing or recycling her style. Her quotes get turned into, like, empowerment memes.
She doesn't need to chase the platforms because her back catalog is the content.
Exactly. She's become part of the cultural source code, you could say. The source code for modern virality, almost.
That sounds like the ultimate long game.
It is. It seems she stopped trying to just top the weekly charts and started playing for the archive, for cultural memory, for resilience. The goal isn't just being talked about today, it's building something that lasts, something that influences tomorrow.
Okay, so let's try and rack this master game up. It wasn't just talent, it was timing, it was ownership, it was using crisis, leveraging influence.
Systematically, weaponizing each element. She made sure every short-term play, whether it was the Maverick deal way back when, or that huge Rio concert recently fed into building long-term assets and control.
She built a system designed to last, designed to hold assets, and transformed herself completely in the process.
From that 35-hour life arrival to an $850 million strategist, it proves that real power, lasting power, isn't just in the performance, it's in the ownership. Perpetual ownership.
And maybe the final thought for everyone listening, the really provocative bit, is how she handled the constant negativity.
Yeah, too sexual, then too old, then irrelevant, always something.
And her response.
Never seemed to be explaining or defending, just execute the next move, build the next phase of the empire.
So the final wisdom maybe is, your starting point doesn't define your limit. Your strategy does.
Exactly. So what are you building that can still be thriving, still be relevant 40 years down the line?